I'm good. Yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. I wanted to ask you a question, please, not about the Texans, but uh, based on your experiences of interviewing for jobs in the NFL, including head coach. The NFL sent a memo down yesterday saying before the season's over, head coaching candidates and GM candidates can be interviewed by Zoom. And is that beneficial to a coach or a general manager or a team to be able to do it? And how could you imagine having 2 hours in a day before your season was over to do an interview while you're trying to coach?
I think that would be difficult during the day or night, while the season is going on, because your days and nights are pretty well taken. I know they could maybe do a 2 hour late interview, but that's surprising that they would use that rule at this time, while the season is still going on.
Is it easier for, say, potential GM candidates who are working on the draft to be able to interview during the season?
Well, they might have a little bit more time, and they potentially could carve out a couple of hours, to do an interview. But still, you have season work that goes on, like all of these GMs and personnel guys. They are evaluating their teams and thinking about next year. They have been looking at college guys, and I know that's a little bit different this year. But they're looking at college guys for the draft, and so there's still a lot going on, even though the season is beginning to wind down.
I have one more question, please. When you were interviewing for head coaching jobs, how much easier would it have been for you to do a Zoom instead of having to get dressed and go to the airport and fly to the city?
Well, fortunately for me, other than I had one major interview that I had to go fly to the city and do that. But most of the time they came to me because we were in the playoffs and my time was limited. And so they came and we met somewhere in the vicinity and sit down and interviewed that away.
Aaron Wilson.
Hey, good morning, Romeo. How are you?
Good. Yourself?
Well, thank you. Romeo, I wanted to ask you about DJ Reader, who's injured, not going to play in this game for Cincinnati, but not having him back, how much do you feel like that impacted the run defense, that decision? Obviously, it was a negotiation, and they went back and forth, and ultimately, he signed a big contract with the Bengals.
Well, he was a critical part of our defense, and he helped us quite a bit. And so losing him hurt. And so, I think that he knows his importance to us, but every team is a different team. And so evidently Cincinnati saw the importance as well. And that's why they paid him what they paid him, but you lose guys in this business all the time. And so you have to work around it the best you can.
And Deshaun was named to the Pro Bowl, not a big surprise, third year in a row. Just your thoughts on his season, how he's going to overcome his circumstances. He's had lots of different receivers. Hopkins was traded in the offseason and still put up career numbers.
Well, I think all of that will make him better, because he's able to adapt to the receivers that he has on the field. And he can still put up the good numbers. And so I think that when he gets a consistent crew, that'll just make him better down the line. And even though he's had good numbers, I think that he will say that the fact that we're not winning, doesn't satisfy him. Even though his numbers are good, he's not satisfied with that. I think his choice would be to have good numbers and to have a lot of wins to go along with it.
Mark Berman.
Romeo, do you have an update on Titus?
Other than being in a protocol, I do not. They've been away for a couple of days, and so we'll see what he looks like today, what they tell us he is today, because in the protocol, they got this testing program that he has to go through, and they'll let you know whether he passed or didn't, and then I have a better idea about his progress then.
Would you say it's unlikely for Sunday, or just no way to know at this point?
Just my guess. I would say it's unlikely because of the severity, and that he had to stay overnight in Indy. And that's an indication to me that it might take longer than a week.
Christy?
Hey, Romeo. I was wondering what you've seen from the Bengals and what do you think are some of the biggest challenges they present to your team?
Well, the biggest challenge initially is that the energy and the way they played against the Steelers. They were extremely fired up for the game Monday night, and they played really good. They played good defense. Offensively, they moved the ball. They were able to run it. They were able to throw it. The quarterback was able to make plays with his feet as well as with his arm. They've got a couple of receivers with speed and size. Offensive line held them out a little bit. The defense was aggressive. They had a good game plan, and they took away the things that Pittsburgh liked to do in the passing game. And so overall, it was a really good game for them. And I think that coming out of that game, they will be on a high and they will be excited about coming in here to play.
Is that tough for your team since you're coming off such a tough loss and they're obviously kind of flying high with such a big win?
Well, only if we let the tough loss bring us down. You can look at it two ways. We fought and we played hard and we came up short. And so what I tell them is you got to keep fighting. And if you keep fighting and fight hard enough and long enough, then you'll be able to win some of those games that we've come up short in. And so that's what we're going to try to do for 2 weeks.
DP?
Hi, Romeo. What are your thoughts on Dylan Cole being named Ed Block Courage winner? And then I have a follow-up.
Okay. I'm really excited for Dylan. Dylan is a great guy, first of all. He's a smart football player. He works very hard on the field. He has compassion for people off the field as well. And so I think that his teammates recognize that and appreciate that in him. And so I feel really good for him.
And then Tyrell Adams passed 100 total tackles for the season on Sunday. How impressive is that considering he only had 10 starts this year and just the limited amount of reps that he's had just overall with his time with the Texans?
Well, I think that says a lot about the young man, because he's basically a backup until he got the opportunity to go in and play. And then he has gone in and he has done a good job for us, running from sideline to sideline, making those tackles. And the effort that he puts in, the way that he goes about his job that allows him to make those plays. And so it says a tremendous amount about him as well.
John?
Romeo, in your first year here, you guys set the franchise record by forcing 34 turnovers. Even though you're not the coordinator, you're on the verge of having the fewest turnovers in team history. Looking back on 2014, even last year you had 22, year before 29. What is the difference about why you were getting so many and now you're getting so few?
Well, I think it's a combination of things. You have to look at who you have and how you want to use the players that you have. I think this year we're playing a little bit more zone than we used to play. And so when you play zone, there are holes in the zone and they're able to find those holes. Good quarterbacks particularly are able to find those holes in the zone. And they are able to get control of the ball before you can get to them. And so as a result of that, not as many balls get knocked loose or get tipped or get intercepted, as a matter of fact. And so I think that probably that has something to do with it.
Thank you.
Aaron Wilson?
Hey, Romeo. How did you feel like Brent Qualley played the last couple of games at left guard for you? And wanted to ask about Max Sharping. He started for you guys last year. He was a starter at the beginning of the year. What do you think happened to Max this year in his second season? I know he had COVID for a few weeks, and he also had some injuries. Why do you feel like he didn't have the season that you guys would hope for going from year one to year two? Thank you.
Well, I think that that not having an off season, not having a preseason hurts young players when they are ready to make a move and to improve themselves, and they're not able to have that to continue that progress. And I think also during the year, like you said, he missed some time during the year. And so all of those things set him back a little bit. I still feel like that he's a big body in there. He will be able to get some things done, particularly if he's able to have an off season this year and a preseason and all those things that go into educating a football player.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right.